Hi Spartans, we're going to do some basic edits to this portrait to get it ready. So when I begin, again, I'm going to crop. I want to crop my image to be 8 by 10 with a 300 resolution. Make sure that your height and width are set by inches, not pixels. I like this picture to be horizontal. If I wanted to make it vertical and see if I like that better, but you can, but in this case I don't. I can move it left and right, but I kind of love the balance of this, so I'm choosing to leave it. So when you're done and you make your decision, you can go ahead and apply it by pressing enter, and then that will apply your crop. Next step is to adjust my contrast, so I'm going to do levels, image, adjustments, levels. With levels, we have our histogram, so I'm going to first start by bringing up my highlights. And the goal is to not blow them out. So remember, don't go past where you can't pick up any skin textures with your highlights. You can play with your middle tones, your gamma. Again, be cautious there. Don't overdo it. I like what this is doing to the red in the background, and I like what it did to his hair. The shadows, I have plenty of shadows. I don't need to change those. So I'm going to press OK and apply that. Next, I'm going to move on to overall colors. So image, I'm going to check out auto color. Here is, remember, where I have a choice. So I'm going to undo it and check it before I did auto color and after. I kind of like what doing auto color did. It warmed his skin up. But if you don't like that, you don't have to do that. See what looks more natural. But I'm going to add in an extra step here that's new to us with this portrait unit, and that's going to be photo filters. So if I go to image, adjustments, photo filter, you are going to receive the opportunity to add a filter to your picture. Now, these are like as if you're adding a glass filter on top of the camera when you're taking a picture. So play with the different filters. The only way to learn this, I can't give you a prescription, is to select one, play with the density, and watch what it does. This is starting to make him look like an Oompa Loompa. That would be a bad choice. So I am not going to use that one. In fact, I'm going to try a cooling filter. Okay, so with this cooling filter, I'm kind of liking what this is offering me in terms of the color of the sweatshirt and as well as his skin. So I added a little bit of a cooling filter here. Play with the density, see what's working. Again, you're the only one who can make the decision. So go with what makes your subject look best. Okay, so that was an extra step. So beyond that, now I'm ready to go into some simple brush adjustments and really get in there and change specific areas rather than the whole image. So to begin, I'm going to start with my dodge tool. When we are dodging, we want highlights for our range. Exposure, you want to generally start it at 25% or so. In this case, I'm going to bring out some highlights that are in his hair, and then I'm going to bring out some highlights more in his eyes and brighten those up just a little bit. So I'm going to, my exposure here, I'm actually going to go up to about 35%. I'm going to zoom into my image. So remember, you could use the navigator or you could hit Command plus. And let me just get into a place where I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I have my dodge tool and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just working on those highlights there. Remember, you can use your bracket tool, right bracket and left bracket, to make your brush bigger and smaller. So all I'm playing with here are some of the highlights in his hair. Okay, now let's see what that looked like before, after. If you don't see a lot of a change, you could try and increase it to more. I brought it up to now 50. Let me see if that, again, this is so subtle. I'm fully aware of that. Okay, now let's see if that made a difference. Before, let's see, before and after. Very, very slight, but it's working. Maybe I don't need to do that as much as I thought. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get into where his eyes are. And right now I have it on 50. I'll probably bring that down. Yeah. I'm just brightening the light around where his eyes are. Lighten this area just a little bit. No, that's probably too much. I'll undo that one. Bring the exposure down a little bit. So again, this part, it's like a dance. Toggle more or less. Okay, I'm pretty pleased with this. So next step would be burning. Is there anywhere on here that I need to burn? To be honest, burning is darkening. I'm definitely not going to burn on the skin. If I wanted to burn somewhere, it might be on the sweatshirt if I wanted to make those shadows more pronounced. Remember, burning is shadows and exposure that you're playing with. Let's see. In this case, I could maybe bring up some of the shadows. Maybe I could bring up some of the shadows on where his sweatshirt is. Bring this up a little bit more so I could see the difference. So I'm burning down here. Okay, so there's before I burned. There's after. Very slight, but I am pleased with it. So let me go ahead and zoom out. Okay, finally, next I'm going to play with the color. So I'm going to use the sponge tool, and I am going to take Aiden's eyes and I'm going to make them a little bit bluer. So again, with sponge, if you want to add color, you go to saturate. Flow, again, I'm going to do 25%. I'm going to left bracket my brush so it's small. And the goal here is that I'm bringing some of that blue out of his eyes. He's got a very cool aqua color going on here, so I want to emphasize that. He doesn't have it going, that's what they are. So that's before I sponged, that's after. Again, subtle, I'm aware, but I like it. Okay, let's see, double click the hand tool, zoom out. All right, maybe I want to increase the boldness of the red background. So I'm going to make my brush bigger, and I'm just choosing to pop the red that's on that background. Okay, so I am happy with this as it is. And finally, last step is going to be to sharpen it. So I go to Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask, and I have my formula that I go with on my camera. It's 40. For the radius, I do 40, and then I do 5. You can mess with this if you want more or less. You can change the thresholds if it's too much. In this case, I'm going to go with 15. That's looking appropriate for his skin. And there I go. So we did basic edits to this image. I'll go back up to the before when I started. And here is after. An improvement, it looks ready to go. Now I'm ready to do some advanced edits here. Before I do these advanced edits, I'm going to duplicate my layer. So to do that, I click on my layer, I drag it down to the bottom of the palette to the plus sign, and it'll make a duplicate layer. This way I'm preserving a base in case I need to go back to it. So on this top layer, I'm going to do those advanced edits, like if there's any pimples, we could get rid of them. We could whiten eyes, whiten teeth if we needed to. We could really play with some advanced things here. So in this case, my darling has a couple little blemishes that if I want to get rid of them, I totally can. So if you right click on your patch tool, underneath it, you will find a spot healing brush tool. Let me see.